Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today we are just looking at a quick Cincinnati Bengals mock draft. Looking forward to that 2022 season. Obviously, just a magical run by the Bengals. I lost a lot of money betting against them till the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow proved me wrong. And hey, I was wrong about Penei Sewell. I was banging the table for the Bengals to draft Penei Sewell. They go with Jamar Chase. I said, hey, you're not going to be able to protect Joe Burrow. Well, I was wrong. Jamar Chase has changed that offense. That being said, the protection of Joe Burrow is still a problem. We're going to fire this mock up and look how we can help Joe Burrow stay on his feet and just help round out a team that is going to be competitive for the next 10 years with Joe Burrow. That's the fun part. Is one, you got a quarterback on a rookie deal, and two, you're going to have him he's staying in Cincinnati. I can't imagine he's playing anywhere else in his career for the next 10 years. So the Bengals are picking 31, obviously. The thing is, you're not going to get a top tackle. Ike Ekwonu, Charles Cross, Evan Neal are the only three tackles that I feel great about taking in the first round. Yeah, Bernie Ryman you could go with. We're going to reject that. So I'm not opposed to trading out of this pick right here and end up going with, trading for a tackle, Laramie Tunsil, or signing Teron Armstead in the free agent market. But you got to accept you're not going to tackle here. At 31, I mean, Nakobe Dean's a great look. Logan Wilson's been phenomenal for the Bengals, but I think pairing him up with a Nakobe Dean, you have two really solid linebackers. That being said, I'm going to go with a little bit more impact in Jermaine Johnson, who is, I think they need another edge rusher. Trey Hendrickson was a great addition. They made some phenomenal free agent signings, but he was a little bit he was the only really guy. I mean, Hubbard gave him a little production. Jermaine Johnson's a guy who can stick on the other side and get elite pass rush, and he's very good in the run game. You turn on that film from Notre Dame against Florida State, absolutely phenomenal. 34-inch arms. Blew up the Senior Bowl to the point where he didn't even play in the game because he played too good. I think that's the pick there. I have a top 15 grade on him. I'm not very optimistic that he gets there. That being said, Nakobe Dean's also another great option. Again, maybe not picking there if you're trading for a tackle. You also got to be thinking about maybe getting Jesse Bates back as a Wake Forest guy. Love him. I think he's great. He's a great ambassador for Wake Forest, but he's also had a phenomenal rookie campaign. A start to his career there. I think Roger McCreary is the pick here. That's the one that jumps out again. I have a first-round grade on Roger McCreary. A little undersized. His draft stock took a little bit of hit with the measurements at the Senior Bowl. Only 29-inch arms, but you turn on the tape and then for this guy, phenomenal. Against the Iron Bowl, just following around John Mechie the whole way. Yeah, he lost some reps, but he was extremely impressive in most of those reps. Kind of an alpha corner who's going to be able to – he's really good at man coverage. You turn on the film, he's always in the hip pocket of receivers, plays with extremely competitive toughness, and just gets his hands on footballs. And that's a really good skill to have, being able to play man coverage at the level Roger McCreary does. Starting off the draft, we're addressing that defensive side of the ball. We haven't gotten that tackle that you really love to have, and kind of maybe the number one goal that I think the Bengals have going into the offseason is one, I think you guys got to get a veteran left tackle. I mean, the Bengals are in win now mode. You don't want to draft a tackle that needs more development. You want to get a guy who's going to be able to come in and play at a Pro Bowl level right now. I mean, we saw that all year, but we especially saw it in the Super Bowl. You got to be able to protect Joe Burrow. I would have loved Wendell Robinson. I think him in the slot, I think he's the best slot prospect in the draft. Yeah, a little bit undersized at 5'10", but he is extremely tough and extremely quick with the ball in his hands. Christian Watson's another guy who's rocketed up draft boards. Just played at a really high level at the Senior Bowl. That being said, I don't think you need any more bigger wideouts. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. It's a good wide receiver room. I think Wendell Robinson would have added a little juice to that core, but I don't think you need to go. I don't think you need to go with another bigger quarterback. You didn't get Nakobe Dean. I think Darian Beavers, he's a former safety. He's extremely good in coverage. He has really good range. I'm going to check the linebackers in general, see if we like anyone else. Terrell Bernard, I like. Jacoby McLean, I like. I mean, I like a lot of linebackers in this area. Looking back at some of the other picks, someone like a Channing Tindall, someone like a Brandon Smith, I think all those guys are really good prospects. That's why I'm not as high on these linebackers in the first round, because I think there's a lot of good linebackers you can get at the back end of day 3 that can provide some value for football teams. I think Darian Beavers is the pick. I haven't gotten as much film as I need to. It's more been passive watching, but I like his game. I'm a huge fan of converted safeties, guys who have that range to go sideline to sideline, who are comfortable picking up running backs and tight ends out of the backfield. I think Darian Beaver checks all those boxes. Pair him up with Logan Wilson. I think you got a very strong linebacking duo. Man, Logan Wilson. I just want to get Chad Mumma now. Just get the Wyoming boys back together, because Logan Wilson's been awesome. I was extremely impressed with what I saw from him in the Super Bowl. I mean, again, looking at this depth chart, like, it's a good depth chart. I think Q Spain's up on free agent. And Jonah Williams, I'm optimistic about, like, kind of putting it together. I just was not a fan of the Jackson Carman pick. I really thought they could have gone other places at the position last year, with just a little bit better prospects. Again, we got Jermaine Johnson. He's going to come in, play on the edge, provide some pass rush with Trey Hendrickson. I think Vernon Hargreaves is also a free agent, but he's just, kicking to the streets. Maybe looking at a safety, but I'm really a fan of getting Jesse Bates back. I mean, he's been phenomenal for that defense, a large part of their success. I mean, Tyron Munford is sticking out. He was getting talked about as, he was an All-American tackle at Ohio State. They end up kicking him to guard because I think that's probably his best position. He wasn't great this year. That was a problem. I mean, all of Ohio State's line really wasn't great. Tyron Munford, though, has put together really good seasons on film. Just this year wasn't his greatest year. Smoke Monday's getting a lot of love. I mean, just a physical safety. Maybe compliments Jesse Bates a little more. The Smoke Monday's a little bit more of a box safety, but Von Bell, he's been really good for them, and I'm not loving that. Leo Chenal, man, I'm a huge fan of this prospect. What's that depth chart at running back looking like after Joe Mixon? Samaje Perine and Chris Evans, I'm actually really high on. He's more of a third down back. He's not really between the tackles. So maybe add a little depth there. Not really sure what Samaje Perine's contract's looking like, but he's only 26. I feel like that dude's been in the league for a minute. So he's got one more year. So maybe you just rock with Samaje Perine. Now, I'm a fan of Brian Robinson. I think Jamaree Salyer's the pick. I mean, yeah, we gotta hammer the offensive line. I think you're getting a really good guy who played left tackle at Georgia, obviously, a national championship team. I project him more as a guard in the NFL, but a guard that's going to come in and play right away. When you talk about having guards who are able to, part of the knock on Kenyon Green, a guy who's a first-round prospect, is you can find guards later on in the draft that maybe provide very similar value. I think Jamaree Salyer is one of those guys. You get him early day 3, late day 2, and he's a guy who has the potential to play right away and produce. I mean, he's a brick house, has very good feet for a big guy, and he's very strong, has a very good pass set. And he's also very good in the run game. It was a large factor of Georgia's ability to run the ball as well as they did. Looking here at 174. Now you're looking at guys who probably aren't going to come in and start right away, but are you going to get guys who can add depth to a position in need? And just go out and get prospects that you like. Josh Pascal probably is the prospect that I like. If you're a fan of the channel, we are big fans of Josh Pascal. Guy, 280 pounds, 2-time captain at Kentucky, a 5th-year senior, but he has a freak get-off for 280 pounds, extremely powerful hands. He can provide pass rush, and I think he's a guy who can come in and rush from the interior at a high level. He doesn't have the bend and functional strength that like an Aiden Hutchinson has, but I mean, there's something to be said about a guy who's very powerful, gets in the backfield, gets tackles for a loss, and can collapse pockets, and that's Josh Pascal. He's an absolute wrecking ball, and kind of a perfect guy to target in day 3. A guy who it probably can come in, provide depth to a position that's very important to have depth in, and a guy who you know is going to develop for you. He's a high character guy. Ask anyone at Kentucky. 208. Back to the big board. I mean, now you're looking at maybe tight ends because I know I think CJ Usman's a free agent, might not come back. Drew Sample just hasn't really. He had a good year, solid year last year. Didn't really get his feet too wet this year. I mean, I don't mean to pound offense line, but Dylan Parham is a great prospect. Squatty body, but with really good arms, really long arms. Maybe here's where you might think about going running back. Devontae Price, he's getting some love. Don't really love that. Maybe add some depth to that cornerback room. Anybody we really like here? Not really. All right, back to the big board we go. I mean, Zion McCollum from Sam Houston State. He played in the Senior Bowl. Just didn't really seem like he could make it happen. Vinny Gray's a guy that I really like who could be a target in this range. A guy with good length, good feet. As a Michigan fan, I can attest just the only big knock on this guy's game is the ball skills, which is completely coachable. I mean, just get this guy more comfortable with the ball in the air because when the ball was in the air, with Vinny Gray at his time at Michigan, it was panic mode. It was like, I'm not playing the ball, I'm playing the person. He's like either tackling the wide receiver, getting a PI call, or just misplaying the ball and giving up a big play. So depth looking like a running back here or wide out. Tyler Boyd, Mike. So yeah, I mean, outside of the top 3 guys, it's not great. Puka Williams from Kansas. Did he get any burn? I thought he might switch to wide receiver. Haven't really followed how he did. Let's check this wide receiving group right now. I mean, Bull Melton's a guy that, if anything, he's going to be a special teamer. Dude's pretty electric with the ball in his hands at Rutgers. Was really one of their only sources of offense at that skill position. Yeah, he's worth a shot. He's a guy that if you want to get creative with your offense, give him a few touches in space. I think he can maybe bring some juice. Again, he's a guy who I'd rather have is someone like Wendell Robinson from Kentucky, who's a little bit tougher over the middle, a more polished running back, and just has that more juice. Early 7 here. You want to go back to the well, Nasir Greer. When he was healthy at Wake Forest, he was phenomenal. Just couldn't stay healthy. He had COVID problems. I think he had COVID twice. He had injury problems. He just couldn't stay on the field. But if this guy stayed on the field for his time at Wake Forest, I think that would have been a really special team, a really special prospect. Again, just didn't put enough on tape, which was kind of the reason why you're getting him at round 7. Get a guy in, keep him healthy. And he has a potential to be a player for you. Bengals have one last pick here at 250. I'll tell you what the pick is. And we were talking about, actually, let's accept this. Let's get 2 more picks here. I already have a guy in mind right now. You want to add depth to your running back position. There are some guys right here. And we're going to go, where is he? He's down here somewhere. Zamir Waite from Georgia. I mean, a former top 10 guy in his recruiting class, number 1 running back in his recruiting class at Georgia. I mean, got phased out a little bit just because of that talent was so deep. But when it comes to just running between the tackles and being an absolute physical beast, I mean, that's Zamir White. I mean, look this dude up on Instagram. He's an absolute muscular freak. They call him Zeus for a reason. I think he could absolutely be RB2. Samaje Perine just, quite frankly, doesn't have the juice. I mean, you saw him one of those 3rd and 1s in the Super Bowl. Like, Aaron Donald kind of just stood him up. I get it's Aaron Donald, but you kind of got to figure out how to get that yard. He just couldn't figure it out. Zamir White, man. I love that dude. He runs hard. Last pick here. Last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. Get a guy who might just be able to bring a little something, either in special team. Tate Martin from Oklahoma State, I think, is a really good wide receiving prospect who's got good length. I mean, he caught for 900 yards at Oklahoma State with Spencer Sanders throwing it at his feet all year. Pretty impressive. Andrew Stuber's a guy who played right tackle, and the film of Andrew Stuber is not bad at right tackle. 330 pounds, probably more of a guard. He's just a little big, but not with the ideal length. Um, Played at the Senior Bowl, didn't look great, but I think he's a guy that he's going to be reliable. Um, Kind of like a John Runyon who got picked from, I hate to go Michigan, Wake Forest, but we're going to go with him who's just a depth guy. But I mean, the Bengals showed it's important to have guys who can come in and count on. I think Andrew Stuber is one of those guys. He also can play tackle. So you start him at guard, but if you really need a tackle, having that versatility, that offensive line versatility is important. All right, the overhaul, Jermaine Johnson is just an absolute steal. I mean, he's a top 15 prospect, number 3 edge guy on our board. You check the film of him at Florida State, then watch him at the Senior Bowl. He's just been dominant this year. Just converts power to speed well, has good bend. He's everything you want in an edge. That dude, it has it. Roger McCreary, sticky cornerback who can play really good man coverage. Darian Beavers, converted safety to linebacker, good athlete, good in coverage. I think that's kind of the modern day linebacker again. Facing teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, you got to have linebackers who can play in space. This dude checks that box. Jamaree, Salyer, and Josh Pascal are 2 guys who I think could legit start for the Bengals day one. Josh Pascal, more of a 3-tech, so maybe not necessarily a starter, but I think in certain packages, he certainly can provide some value. Bo Mellon, just a guy who's a good athlete, could be an offensive weapon. Picking him up late day 3, I think he's worth a shot. And Nasir Greer, again, a guy that I really love who just couldn't stay on the field. And then Zamir White and Andrew Stuber. Zamir White, he's just being slept on. Whoever gets him late is going to be really, really happy. Dude runs the ball extremely hard. He's got good burst. The one big thing that's his problem is he doesn't change direction that well because he's so big. He doesn't need to change direction. He's going to run right through you. And that's what I love about him. I love watching his highlights because he's just an absolute animal. And then closing it out, Andrew Stuber, just a reliable offensive lineman. Yeah, I think he was a 5th or 6th year guy at Michigan. He's big. He can play tackle, though I don't think he'll be great there. A solid depth guard, though. And that's a wrap on the Bengals. I mean, this team's exciting. Win now with a rookie quarterback and surrounded with some serious talent. I'm excited for this team. I kind of fell in love with the Cincinnati Bengals a little bit with that Joe Burrow run. So, once again, appreciate you guys for rocking with the Rock Boys. Stay tuned for more NFL draft content. We'll be breaking down more position rankings and rolling out our mock drafts. Appreciate y'all for watching. Talk to y'all later. Peace.